Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to your November forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. A reminder before we begin that all of these readings can be used for sun, rising, and moon. Before we get started, let's check in on Sleeping Beauty here. Apollo's doing well, holding some space for us while we do this reading today. We got a lot to talk about, so let's begin. I always like to get started with channeled messages, and today there was a powerful image that came through in dreams. What I saw was an image of, it felt like it was family, but family is sort of a term that you can apply to the closest of friends or literally blood relatives. And the interesting thing is, I'm sure that in every group of people, your friend circle and your family circle, there are people that you sometimes think, how did we end up in this space together? I think this is particularly true for blood relatives. And what I was picking up on was the seating arrangement here was deliberate. You were supposed to be next to the most awkward possible person, and conversation was going to be a little difficult at the beginning. Now, this is the interesting thing. As I was looking around, I realized that this was like a temple for Shiva, which is a god of both creation and destruction. And there were a lot of cool things going on around this table, and there was this impatience. Like, why did we all end up here? We could be mixing and mingling and meeting new people. And the person at the head of the table said, it's because we need to work things out. There's some karma that needs to be dealt with. And it made sense. And however you want to deal with it is up to you. So for you, I'd love for you to take a look at your current group of friends and family and relations and connections, and think about the people that you're avoiding, the people you don't want to sit next to at a dinner party. And if there's something you can do to release the tension, some of it is just here cognitively, some of it's here in the heart. If you want to have a conversation, great, but sometimes it just doesn't pan out because there may be people that are too argumentative, too closed, or there's so much difference between you and them, but it's difficult to have like a civil conversation. So in your mind, you're going to make a decision that it's okay that they are the way that they are. It's okay that you're the way that you are. You no longer have to feel this need to prove yourself or argue. You're going to put your energy into bigger and better things. If you can reach across the table energetically or with communication and just say, let's agree to disagree, let's move on, that could also be perfectly fine. There just was some sort of unresolved energy, and Shiva came through, and Shiva says it like it is. It needs to end so that you can begin something new, so that you can go into the other rooms, meet new and or better people in your life to basically take the place of this person, which is really just a teacher. So those people at the table that were uncomfortable to talk to, they're teachers in our lives. Once you've graduated the lesson, the karma's free. You don't have to worry. It's going to be a lot easier, and you can move forward. So that was what I got with that. And I'm sure you've been at a wedding or assigned seating at school or in an airplane somewhere in your life where the person next to you think, could it be anyone else but this? So Spirit's really coming through and saying, pay attention to that one person that you don't want to be around and do what you can to unravel the karmic ties so that you can hold space for something better in your mind, in your heart, and in your life. I think that's pretty powerful. And because we're looking at Shiva, it tells me that there is something really cool around the corner, but first you have to do the homework. So we're going to look specifically in this spread at ends and beginnings. And I do think a great takeaway here is sometimes it's just not worth the energy. So cutting your losses in certain situations might also be advantageous. All right. Enough said. Let's go ahead and shuffle the cards and begin. I'll check on Apollo as we do that. He is still sleeping and enjoying. We should all be so lucky to be zen and relaxed like him. Let's take a moment now and set intentions. This is a chance to make sure that we're ready to receive. So I'd like you to focus on a beautiful sunrise, imagining that it's the beginning of a new day, that you're not taking with you any of the worries or questions or thoughts of the day prior. This is a chance to see possibilities. As you connect with the solar energy of that beautiful, brilliant star that we call the sun, I want you to welcome in your spirit guides, your angels, all of the ascended masters that need to come through. We already have Shiva today. And also connect to your own highest self and Let's allow all of these things to provide a compass to navigate the possibilities. All right, open your eyes if you haven't already, and let's get started. We have 2 here, and that's okay. All right, we're going to begin first with your catalyst. Your catalyst card this month is Gaia, and the card reads Earth Connection. Be mindful of the planet, come back to Earth, stay grounded. The grounded piece is what we're going to start with. For some of you, you may simply be doing too many things at once. There may be also a lot of ideas that are kind of flying around in the air. And today, especially whenever you listen to it, it's time to take one of those ideas, like a floating 7 of cups, and say, I'm going to focus on this. Ground your intentions, ground yourself. Things like yoga or walking the dog or just sitting outside for a moment and collecting your thoughts. All of these can help. And of course, we have the environmental piece. So some of you are thinking about how you can be better to this planet, whether it's recycling or it's renewable resources and energy, or maybe there's a business idea that you want to put out there that, again, is going to help. Yes, to all of those. Now, we can also just be looking at your environment, and is it supportive? Is there any sort of toxic energy? We were talking about sitting at that table and feeling that sort of need to fix it. So just like you would fix the actual earth and environment, there could also be people in the environment that need to be dealt with. So it's all of the above, a really powerful card. And with Gaia upside down, this is kind of like the World card upside down. Some of you may be trying to catch your breath after a series of significant shifts. There could also be something really great happening, and it's almost like the rug is pulled out from underneath you, so it takes a moment or two to recalibrate. So let's go ahead now and look at the general spread, overarching themes, and then we'll go card by card. I like the Wheel of Fortune at the center. Both are reversed, the World and the Wheel of Fortune. So again, a new job, a new opportunity, a new way of looking at something, maybe getting a better handle on your resources. Overcoming some challenges, which we talked about, and I think it has to do with people in your life. But where it's heading you is in a really good direction. We have success where possibilities is. We have some good news outgoing or incoming. Your communication skills are, right on spot and right on target this month. And then we also have a great ace here in the outcome. So it looks good, folks. Most of the stuff is really, really manageable. Let's get started with your center card, the recalibrated Wheel of Fortune in the reverse position. So when I look at this card, I think of the song To Everything, Turn, Turn, Turn. I know it's a quotation as well, but the Wheel of Fortune doesn't stand still. Those of you right now who might be experiencing a setback or it feels like it's sluggish, this card is saying it's here now, but it's starting to shift. The speed with which the wheel turns depends partially on your openness, partially on the environment. We talked about maybe needing to change up the environment a little bit. And for some of you, there's an internal gear that needs to be shifted where you start to see yourself as deserving and ready and willing to do what's necessary to get here. Suffice it to say, things are starting to move in the right direction. I think it's really telling that the Three of Swords is crossing this. Both of these have gears, but this is the one that is either going to speed things up or slow things down. Three of Swords could be disappointment in progress. Sometimes we imagine things are going to happen at a certain point in our life faster than they are. It could be disappointment in a relationship. There could be sadness or grief that you're processing. You don't have to do it alone. Definitely reach out for help if you need it. And then once the heart starts to move in the right direction, the Wheel of Fortune, of course, will follow suit. So really tuning into your heart. Is your heart into whatever it is that you're doing? Do you feel passionate? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel happy? Use these sort of feelings as guideposts, as a compass to decide, should I continue or do I need to move in a different direction? So getting a handle on your finances, getting a handle on your emotions, these things are pivotal, and it's really what is going to shape up both the speed with which the change happens and how quickly you can land in this Six of Wands over here. Let's look at your karma. We have the Knight of Wands coming through. I do feel like many of you have done the internal work to figure out who you are and what you want, but there may be some resistance to what that answer was. Sometimes when you think to yourself, what do I really want to do? You know, it may be completely over here and you're here and you're thinking, how do I make that jump or that leap? And this is, again, where working with an expert, a mentor, talking to someone that has done it previously can help. Knight of Wands is great at ideation, brainstorming, innovation, and sometimes those dreams may seem wild, but every invention, everything that is at one point new does seem a little bit outlandish, and that's just the nature of progress and change. Trust yourself. Lean into your skills. Keep dreaming and believing. Don't stop believing, to quote another song. All right, so the biggest challenge here is in the recent past. Some of you may be feeling it right now as you're watching the reading. Eight of Swords in reverse. It's trying to close your eyes or plug your ears to something that's right there in front of you. You can't sweep it under the rug. Some of you also feel like you're not being seen or appreciated in either a relationship, a job, or just anything that you care about. If that consistently happens, it's the universe kind of nudging you in a different trajectory. Go where the energy is open, go where your heart is open, go where people reciprocate. And it is your moment to be seen. Basically, this is about enlightenment and paying attention to the difficult things. Just like we talked about, the people at the table that you may not want to talk to, sometimes you have to. So you can't ignore something. That's basically what Eight of Swords reversed is. One of the reasons it's so important in this reading is it leads to the card of movement here. So we have the Six of Swords, and I love that there's like a Zeppelin here or a blimp here, showing the ability not to just have to go through the old channels, the old way of doing it, but possibly getting a bird's eye view and finding a shortcut. This is also about finishing up unfinished business. So if there's something that you need to address in the past, a contract where you said you were going to do it, but you haven't, maybe there's a lesson or maybe it's a degree or something where you're like, I need to get this out of my way so that I can focus on something else. Yes. And this is just also saying that a decision or action, it's something that you've had here and here. You just have to bring it into the physical realm. So we see overdue action and attention to something. We see rapid movement because you're probably going to be able to find a better way. All it takes is the first step. And the question is, are you ready to take that first step? Take some time to get some distance from something. This is important if there's a major decision or frustration. Take a deep breath, take a day, take a week, whatever you can. Research, look around, look back, look forward, and then figure out, what do I want to do next? Collecting your thoughts is so important because it is connecting us to this. Staying grounded this month is going to help you from repeating history, and it's also going to reveal opportunities that have been knocking for a while and hopefully help you get into that Wheel of Fortune energy that we see at the center. Page of Swords. Once you've made the decision, once you get the clarity, pages work pretty quickly. It's about speaking it into existence. If there's someone that you want to get their attention, rather, speak up. If there's something that you need, articulate what that need is, and listen. Pages sometimes forget the important thing is to listen. What are people saying? What are other people doing out there? So observe and hear, and that may also help inform your ideas. Take constructive criticism as well if you're open to that. But Page of Swords, we see possibly a contract, some movement on something that you've articulated, and a chance to start to see something positive shifting in your life. Again, especially since we see the Wheel of Fortune here right by it. Start talking about money. Ask questions about your money and your compensation if that's something that you don't normally do. This is definitely calling that to attention. All right, let's take a look and see how you're showing up in the spread. This is arguably one of the most important cards. You're coming through with one of my favorite court cards. The card was reversed, but let's just look at the King of Cups upright. He's, first of all, one of the most creative, receptive, and empathetic characters in the minor arcana. He's able to intuit and understand, even though he's not the high priestess or the magician. He just feels it in his bones, right? And so I really want you to trust your instincts, your intuition, and also where your heart is leading you. We've been talking about this a lot this month. This card is tantamount to a satellite. So a big satellite dish. You can point it in a direction and beam out a signal. How does the King of Cups beam? Through his heart, his smile, the integrity and the emotions that he's conveying to others. It's contagious in the best sense of the word. It catches on. And when this card is upside down like it came through today, that cup can't receive, nor can it send very well. So he needs to take a moment and get the satellite in the right position. So he's going to take care of himself. If he needs help, he's going to say it. If he's hurt, he's going to convey that emotion. If he realizes that it's not the right time to take action because his emotions are clouding his vision, then he's going to take care of that as well. So center and ground yourself like we saw with Gaia. Communicate your needs, desires, and your frustrations, and open yourself up to receive something better, okay? There could be new love or opportunity, and it's knocking, but you're not ready to receive just yet. As we take a look at what's going on in the environment, we have the Strength card here. So this represents a reflection of who you are, strong, capable, and a leader, but it also represents maybe your biggest challenge. There's someone who's used to getting their way. So this is a unique version of the card because we see a wounded leader here, or a wounded lion. And what's really cool about this is there's a moment, there's an opportunity to not kind of go in and take advantage of that. So if you see someone acting out of pain, check in with them and say, you don't normally do this. Are you okay? Is there something wrong? Before you start to go into, hey, I don't agree with this, or why did you... It's really saying, how are you? And I think just those 3 words, how are you? Yeah, 3. It's a great way to start a conversation. How are you? Is this a good time to talk? How's everything going with you? Check in, then start the conversation. You may find out that someone that has been like your worst nemesis may be going through a really challenging moment in their life too. Like attracts like. So if you're going through some emotional stuff, they probably are as well. Find the common ground, maybe commiserate a bit, and then you can problem solve. You might even find you have more in common than you think. Now, I'm going to pull the traditional card as well, because here we see that empathy and that kindness as being what should happen here with the Strength card, but this isn't always the case with the traditional illustration. In this traditional illustration, you can really easily see how one person is trying to control or even force someone to see it from their perspective. And I like to remind people that you may be able to win the person over once, but there's a lot of energy required for this. There's diminishing returns also associated with this. So take this one situation and decide, do I want to keep spinning my wheel in this direction? Because, by the way, maybe the reason it's taking so long with this Wheel of Fortune not spinning the way you want is because of this. This takes a lot of energy. And yes, we kind of got to the bottom of it. This person may be wounded, but you shouldn't have to always overcompensate for what they're going through, and you shouldn't have to always do the extra work all the time. There needs to be somewhat more of an even exchange. I also think there could just be someone in your life that just doesn't want to do it, or just doesn't want to listen. They're very rigid, they're very traditional, and you're going to have to give them time and space and decide, is this the fight or is this the battle that is worth my time and energy at this moment in time? Here's the good news, folks. Whatever this is, it's really just a speed bump before the success card. So we have Six of Wands. It's coming through in hopes, fears, and opportunities. Success is at hand. You're almost so close that you can taste it or reach it, but there may be one or two internal things to do. And I really do think it has to do with this recalibrating energy that we talked about a little bit earlier. So taking time to focus on your own well-being, mind, body, and spirit, but particularly emotional and mental health. It so often gets swept under the rug. If there's anything going on, take care of you first, because the future is bright, and that's what we've got here. And you may initially spend some time leading the charge without validation. Maybe there's going to be some people around you that have a hard time letting you go. Don't let them hold you back. You got some great stuff coming here in the Six of Wands. And people are looking up to you more than you might realize. We don't always see it in our day-to-day lives because we're so busy with all of the stuff that we want to focus on and that we're trying to get done. I'd love for you to take a moment and just look around. See the impact that you're making. Feel the impact. Appreciate your strengths. The moment you start to do that, because that actually is what this is, see the strength that you offer others. Once you represent that and realize that, then it starts to come through, not represent, but recognize that. Once you recognize that, then it starts to come through with opportunities. And I do feel like whatever comes next in your life, love, business, or something else, an experience, it's a step up. For those of you that play games, you know that when you level up, it's like +1. Here's your +1 here. This could also be, speaking of +1, a person in your life that's coming through. The Ace of Wands did come through in the reverse state, so there's a couple things that I'd like to highlight. If you don't feel the connection, don't fake it. This is one place where we're looking at relationships here first. You either feel it or you don't. But even in a business engagement or an opportunity, if you don't feel it, don't do it. Now, this could also just be overthinking something. So let's say you do feel the connection, but up here you're like, can I do it? That's a different ball game altogether. So, or ballpark. If you are feeling just a lack of confidence, that was one of the opportunities this month, is to take a leap. Okay? So if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Don't. If you want to do it, but you're afraid, you should take the leap. That's the main way that I can break this down so it stays clear. This can also be a lack of energy or vitality, and we already see where the time and energy sink is. It's right here in this person. For some of you, it could be an environment where you're not feeling seen or appreciated, and now is the time to speak up, okay? And get things in writing too. So if something isn't working out, make sure that there's a paper trail. If an offer is placed on the table, make sure that it's tangible and it's in writing. All of that will help you as we progress. Let's now take a look at the expanded forecast. We're going to begin with health energy, which is mind, body, and spirit. And as we take a look at what's coming through for you, there is a really interesting synchronicity here. So Earth star activation. Let's bring the card to the main camera. It says anchoring, grounding action, and Isis energy. Lest you forget, that's very nicely connected with the Gaia energy that we have here, where she said, be mindful of the planet, come back to Earth, stay grounded. So grounding, and again, Earth and grounding keeps coming through. So what is going on for some of you right now is a change of direction. And for some of you, I do feel like it is that rug being pulled out from underneath. Relationship status for some of you, getting in or out of a relationship. Job status, ending or beginning, or possibly like a big moment like, graduating from school or retiring. Something pivotal is going on, and it's changing your anchor or removing it. And really only you can decide how you feel about the change and what you want to do next. Take some time to meditate, to be present, to talk to someone. That's going to be really important. And maybe changing up your environment. As someone who just had to personally move and change every single thing, literally had to let go of everything and start fresh. To me, it's been one of the best things that I've done for a long, long time. It's an energetic reset, I would say, at least in the last decade or so, because it's really allowed me to just recalibrate my energy. You don't realize how much energy is stored in things, how much the environment can affect mental sort of, acuity, your emotional state, and your body too. So really take all of that into account. And if any part of you decides it's time to make a change, we have 2 cards saying, yeah, it makes sense, okay? We also see this Merkaba here, which is a great energy to connect to for clearing in your life. You can sometimes get these 3-dimensional stars in crystal form, and it might be something that you want to meditate with. Okay, let's just look at the general spread here and see if there's specific messages coming through for health. So aside from the emotional piece, which I feel like we've highlighted quite a bit, definitely pay attention to that. 3 of Swords can also be connected to heart health. So whether that's cardiovascular fitness or blood pressure, blood sugar, anything of that nature, now is the time to really pay attention to keeping the heart itself healthy. Then, of course, the symbolic energy around your emotions. All of these things front and center. If you've been traveling too much, or if you need to move, this card is coming through to give you the nudge that you need to make the proper adjustments there. If you haven't had a hearing exam or an eye test in a long time, it might be good to do that. Don't ignore something small in your body that seems off a little bit. Often if you can check and sort of identify it early, then it doesn't become something big. So I know it can be scary to ask a doctor about something, but it's better to do it earlier than later. And strength itself can just represent an opportunity to improve your physical strength. We can look at it in a completely different fashion. And this can be a decision to work out a little bit more, build muscle mass, or to stretch a little bit more. Or if there's any part of you that needs healing, you're going to focus on that. Especially we're looking at the hands here. There might be something going on there. Now is the time, because this body is the vehicle through which we all, travel this world. It has to stay as well maintained and oiled as possible. Take some time, focus on you, emotionally and physically, mind, body, spirit. I do see a successful turnaround. Some things need to change, but it looks like if you put the energy into that this month, it could be very, very good. Finally, let's look at this before we go into the next category. This is vitality. So when you wake up in the morning, do you feel excited about the day, or are you hitting the snooze alarm? Are you feeling a sense of dread even, like, I don't want to see this teacher or this coworker or this neighbor? Who in your mind is occupying space at the table of troublemakers? We need to dismiss them from the mental space, because that's causing fatigue and exhaustion. That's bringing your shine down, and we don't have time for that, folks. There's too many great things that want to come through. Overall, it actually looks pretty manageable when we're looking at health. So let's move on to the next category, which is wealth. All right, wealth includes resources, life purpose, and career. We have a card here representing growth and fertility coming through, and it's perfectly aligned to what happened in the center because we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. There's a lot of text here. Let me get close to the camera and read with you. It says, the frequency of fertility invites us to be more open. Keeping an open mind is also really nicely connected to the Ace of Wands. When it's reversed, it's saying, imagine something greater than what you might otherwise imagine. Also being more courageous, that's why we had the Strength card with the Lion. More creative, that's why you have the King of Cups. More joyful. We don't have a lot of cards showing fun here, so I absolutely would connect with that. This also activates the potential for something beautiful to grow in our consciousness. And again, grander expression of ourselves. Let's break this down into 3 categories. We're going to begin with those of you that already have a job. I'll also look at entrepreneurs in that mix. Then we'll go into job seekers, and we'll wrap up with students and retirees. All right, beginning with those that have a job, a traditional job, whether it's a day or night job or side hustle, I don't care. We're going to look at those that are employed. Here's what I see right now. First and foremost, it does look like the energy around compensation, it's something that needs to be dealt with. So there may not be enough for the amount of work that you're putting in. Again, there may be a lack of recognition for what you've been contributing, good ideas, a lot of effort, and things that really take off and take flight. So it is time to be seen. Do what you can to put that into a written or some sort of like presentation form. And the fact that we got the 6 of Wands actually is a silver lining card that shows that If you put it out there in just the right way, they may agree. They're like, yeah, you're actually overdue. Let's get this moving. It's not a guarantee, but I definitely think you're treading in the right direction on this. And you really owe it to yourself to at least advocate for something more. We see a chance to get that, so I think it's worth the conversation. The energy of strength that shows up here in the environment. This is the biggest challenge for many of you, and it's going to be the tipping point for some. If there's a boss that micromanages or someone that's really pushy, some of you have just had your fill. But if you can find a way to navigate it, and we talked about it, finding commonality, checking in with the person, and trying to chip away a little bit at this, because I feel like some of it might be a facade. And some of the reason that they might be so controlling is they're afraid. They're afraid of losing power or influence, etc. So, you might just be dealing with someone that's jealous or insecure. Your biggest strengths this month, Aquarius, are the following things here. Lean into your ideation. So we have Knight of Wands here and we have an Ace of Wands here, but there's a resistance in putting it out there. I think you're overthinking, and I'd love for you to trust your insights more than you might be currently trusting them. So between these two is the answer, the Page of Swords. Just say it, and don't self-deprecate. Don't say something along the lines of this. Well, I'm not an expert, but, or this may sound outlandish, but. Don't color whatever the idea is. Let people absorb it. Just say this. I have an idea. Say your idea. Pause. Say it with confidence. Hold space. See if people like it. If you want to put something on top of it, put a positive note. Say, I'm really excited about this. I've done some research and I like this. Let me share it with you. Now you've gotten the positive hype around it. They're like, oh, it sounds good. You could say, I have something really innovative that I'd like to share with you. That's a better way of saying this is a little out there. Lean into creativity. I have a creative approach. I have something that's innovative. Why don't we try something different? I'm excited to share this with you. All of those things are going to make your communication more powerful, and they're going to give your idea the best possible stage that it can have. Try it. People will see you as more insightful rather than all of the sort of self-deprecating things. The page is upright. Be upright and positive with your own communication. And I think that's everything there for those that are currently in a job. There may be some travel or some challenges getting people in the same room. So you may be somewhere else or they may be somewhere else. And that's the hard thing there, is kind of getting everyone together at the same time. But once all of the stars align, I really like the success energy that we see here with possibilities. At the end of the day, it really does focus here on this Page of Swords and the King of Cups, getting the satellite in the right direction. So you're pushing out passion and creativity and charisma. Okay. Let's now shift gears here a little bit to entrepreneurs. For those of you that have your own business, there's a really powerful message coming through. If you don't like what you're doing, change it up. Since you're the boss, it may take time to completely, innovate and change what the direction is, but something there needs to be recalibrated. If there's a product, a service, or a customer that you're dealing with and it's just not paying out, it's okay to move in a different direction. We also see an invitation to go more global. Globalization cards would be like the World and the Six of Swords. Six of Swords is a little bit more closer, so you don't have to imagine that the canvas is all the way across the globe. It might just be going to a different city or expanding to a different type of customer. But go a little bit bigger. And remember, that was part of this here, was to imagine something grander than you currently might be seeing. So widen the net a little bit, cut out anything that isn't satisfactory or bringing you joy or creative sort of happiness. And then I'd like you to focus on really being the leader. Part of leadership and part of innovation sometimes is conveying to consumers and to whoever it is that you're really targeting your business, that look at what we've done and look at how we can help you. Your marketing basically is where this is kind of focused. So communicating value and communicating how you're ahead. That way people want to connect a little bit more with you. All right, let's go to job seekers. Job seekers, I understand the frustration. It is frustrating not to have your job applications replied to, your resumes seen, And just like I was talking about with the entrepreneurs, I'd like you to push them into a different either category, geographical location, or a different industry. Maybe it's time to change directions, to set a new course, or to go back and finish something, like, again, a job, a project, or a degree. Something needs to directionally shift. We do see one offer coming through. It does feel like someone might be out either on sick leave or possibly even maternity leave. Someone's not in the office, someone else is looking at this. I think it's important to do a follow-up for that if you know that someone has waited way too long. And I've been saying this for a while. When it comes to following the energy, if you've tried a few times, move on. Move on to something else. You can always come back. Wait until a retrograde period, come back, and then, or when you just feel ready and you've got nothing to lose and no connection to it, try it one more time when there's not so much urgency. Usually that's when it works. Let me see what else I'm looking at here. Okay, I also think that if you're looking at an option on the table, the title's a little lower or the pay is a little lower than it should be. Show what you've done and show how you can apply the skills and why you're a strong candidate, because you are. There's a low ball offer here. So make sure that you advocate for your worth. And it should be creatively satisfactory or inspiring. Don't take a job where you feel like, I can't imagine doing this more than a month or two. I mean, sometimes we have to tide ourselves over, but if you enter in on the first day and you think, I don't like this place, or I don't like these people, or this is going to be difficult, don't do it, okay? I see one great option, and it's on the horizon here. The 6 can be 6 days or 6 weeks. It might be a little bit past this month, but it's better to wait for that one where you really feel this is it, okay? For those of you that are students, self-care is the number one thing. Sadness, stress, depression, there could be any of that going on. The good news is it feels like you're actually doing well, but sometimes just not understanding how this connects maybe to the quote-unquote real world or the next step in your career post-graduation could be frustrating. There might be a class or two that you're taking and you just feel like you're spinning your wheels. Talk to your advisor. See if there's something that you can do with that. Sometimes prerequisites exist and you just have to take them. Sometimes we take a class that we don't appreciate until decades later. I know that because in my undergraduate I did a Bachelor of Science, I had to take math and business in addition to liberal arts classes, and those math and science classes helped me. I had to take like statistics and economics and math and a couple of other business classes, business administration. All of them helped me every single day, and I hated them when I did them. So sometimes there's a grander purpose. I think if I could give advice to students, everybody should take a couple business classes and psychology classes, because a big part of success involves knowing how to deal with money and how to deal with challenging people, and also just how to understand the ins and outs of business. So these types of things can help round out your opportunities in the future. Okay, speaking of going into the future, let's look at those of you that are retirees. If you are retired, I see a wanderlust, a desire to travel. I see some challenges around money or some fears around money. So educate yourself, ask for some guidance if you need it. It doesn't seem like it factors out in the long run, but there is a little bit of discomfort or uncertainty. So that's one thing to pay attention to. I think that some of you are really focusing on being the healthiest that you've been in a long time. And that's good. That's where the focus should be. Mental health and physical health are your two focal points, then perhaps some travel. And if you wanted to teach, there's also some teaching or mentoring things that are coming through here. But mostly, it's about taking care of you in this moment in time, okay? And your finances. So mind, body, spirit, and finances, getting them in order, grounding them, feeling secure in them. I think that's the focal point. Let's go ahead and move on to the 2 cards that came through for the next category. So we're going to move now from wealth to love. So we have the yellow brick road here where there's a will, there's a way. I like that. And choose kindness. Beautiful messages. First with this. Okay, let's pull the graphic off so we can see it. Sometimes simply believing helps you see it. And so it's the reverse of what we are always taught, like seeing is believing. No, believing reveals things. Your instincts and your insights can open things up and go beyond the sort of like veil and help you see something more. You're on the right path. That's what I see here, the yellow brick road. In this path that you're on right now, choose kindness. That's what I saw at the table when we were in the temple. In my sort of dream energy last night, I saw the need to reach across the table and either forgive or release or somehow move on. And when you can release the ghosts of the past, you can start to embrace all of the things that are coming through right now. So this is a great way to look at those in a relationship looking for love and single and happy. We're going to start off first with those that are currently in a relationship. Okay, so there's a couple of things. You might have just gotten a new job. One or both of you are in a sort of very sort of career-oriented path. And there could also be some movement in your life when it comes to career travel. You might be moving into a new home. And for those of you that are feeling that, take some time to really make space for each other. Eight of Swords represents feeling like an outsider. Even the Six of Swords, you're like, you're in the same room, but we're not talking, or I don't feel like I'm reaching you. So we need the Knight and the Page to connect, or the King of Cups and the Strength card to connect. By the way, this is showing me family dynamics. So for some of you, children are at the center of this spread. And we see, again, a little bit of fatigue in both of these cards. One person's trying to hold up everything and the other one is just done. So I think it's important to make sure that everybody's sharing the load. That includes the kids, like children, parents, everybody needs to kind of pull their weight, and there might be a larger conversation to be had there. If you don't have kids, this can be extended family members, an aunt, an uncle, your parents or grandparents, someone coming in, and that also plays with the dynamics a bit. And I think you're gonna, whatever this is, you can successfully navigate it because of Six of Wands. But there's give and take, and you should stand up for what matters. I mentioned that this won't be something that you can always win, but if there's something that you really feel like this is where I stand on it, take the stand. This is your home, this is your life, this is your moment, and it's important to stand up for what matters. Okay. What else is going on here? It's interesting. I was mentioning the siblings, the parents, the family. I feel like this is, for some of you, Aquarius, what the table of troublemakers was about. You're not going to be able to get everybody to agree. I don't even think that's the point in families anyway. Finding your peace, that's what I'm getting for you. Finding how to make peace with different people and the fact that maybe they don't want to make amends. Do what you can. Always keep the door open. Try to extend the olive branch. But at the end of your days and their days, that's all you had to do. It's their karma. It's their path at some point. So I'm trying to help you feel like you don't need to carry the load 100%. Okay? All right. Let me see if there's anything else with the two of you. Maybe a trip together could be nice, planning a trip together. And this is interesting. This is intimacy. And intimacy is not just physical connection, though it does include that. Something's lacking here, and it could be that you're so tired when you come home that it's hard to catch up with one another. There may be fewer date nights or fewer moments when you're romantic, and this is a chance for you to reignite the spark whenever possible or wherever possible. And again, intimacy is sharing time and experiences. It's not just physical connection. It's all of those things. So make some time and see how both of you are feeling and how you can kind of connect a little bit more. We need to light the spark there. That's the only thing that I'm seeing. Let's now move forward and take a look at those of you that are looking for love. Some of you are looking for love on the sort of heels of recovery. So it could be emotional or physical recovery. There could also be a rebounding energy from a breakup. And if that's the case, I think it's really important to make sure that you lick your own wounds first and heal, because we don't want to step into the next relationship and expect someone to be sort of like the teacher or the doctor or the healer. You want to come in a good energy. And I do feel like there's a little bit of healing that should be done first. So take care of that. Even if it is just also taking care of your health. If there's something you've been neglecting, it's now time to really put the focus there. Other things that are coming through for those that are seeking love. The person that's entering into your life could be very different than what you expected. Six of Swords in reverse could be a person from a different background, any type of background. So maybe educational, possibly different culture, different part of the world. Maybe just not your normal type, but there's something about this person where it feels like, yeah, that's the one. Be open to that. There's an sort of, I want to say outsider energy, but it's someone that is unexpected that kind of comes zooming into your life. Now, the person in the past should stay in the past. So the ex, even if they try to come back or whatever, I really think let bygones be bygones, especially with Three of Swords here. If you want to try to smooth things over, yes, but then what we see moving forward are stronger energies for you. The Strength card can be very positive. There could be a Leo coming into your life. This also represents what you're portraying and projecting, which is strength. We have a successful energy, especially connected with that Strength card. But you have 3 different court cards here, so there's a lot of options. Someone that's a little bit younger and more direct. Someone that needs a lot energetically from you, more support than you might want, and then someone that really just is moving forward with boss energy. I think there's a chance, if you're looking for love, to really be more specific. I mean, I love that you're open-minded and that there's a lot of things coming through, but really be more specific in the attributes. We're not talking physical, but like characteristics. Are you looking for someone that is very bold, very decisive, and you're just kind of like getting on board? Because with the Six of Swords, you have to decide, am I steering the ship or am I the passenger? Very rarely can you have 2 people co-piloting, but when it works, it is beautiful. But see if you can be like that binary system, if not binary star system. If not, then be specific in what your preference is for communication, for levels of emotion and empathy, how much physical affection, all that stuff. Just kind of send it out to the universe and say, this is what I'm looking for. And then see if the lens doesn't sharpen what's out there. You're going to maybe see fewer but better candidates, like it's a job. But it is sometimes a job trying to find that partner. So be picky. The most important thing I can give to you, though, is this. You either feel the spark or you don't. If you don't feel it, doesn't matter how this looks on paper or how much someone tries to talk it up, you have to feel the spark, okay? Now, for those of you that are single and happy, I want to just say it's like a perfect time to be single and happy, much like retirees. I feel like right now is a time for you to focus on empowerment. Really you stepping into your voice, your vision, your power in general. Some of you may decide to take up a class or some sort of a hobby here with the Page of Swords, but typically this would be like writing or learning. And I think that could be a really good channel for this King of Cups reverse energy. Find an outlet for whatever is kind of like not going the way that you want and really use that to help you level up. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to your Destiny card. It reads Paradigm Shift, Activation, and then it says to grow, make the necessary change. I feel like there's a lot of synchronicities this month. We saw the Wheel of Fortune at the center that wants to shift you or move you into something new. We have a travel card here in the Six of Swords. So changes in finance, changes in work, changes in direction. That could be some of the necessary paradigm shifts that this is addressing. And it says to grow, make that change. That's the only constant in life, is that we grow and that we move and that we change. Yes, there's a desire sometimes to just stand still, but that isn't what this month is about. Leaning into change. That's how I could restate this. That's going to give you the paradigm shift that you're looking for. Okay? Let's now take a deeper dive into sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what Spirit has to say. Sun, rising, and moon. Okay, we'll begin with sun sign messages first. Patience. Patience is a virtue. Patience is also what you need in this moment in time. Hanged Man in reverse is saying, take a look at it from a different perspective. It could open up your imagination. It could help you really get clear on who you are, what you want, what that next step is, like we talked about. And it's going to help you from repeating history or making a mistake. I also like how this Hanged Man is stretching, because Death and Hanged Man, when reversed, can sometimes be stagnation. And so when we're looking at the physical body, it's time to stretch. When we're looking at things in your life that excite you, it's saying, that's a stretch goal. Let me see if I can accomplish it. Find areas in your life where you can stretch, and remember that it takes time. Just like when you're learning to get more flexible in your body, you stretch a little bit more each day, and more you're able to kind of go further with your body. So stretch, don't break. That's what I'm saying. You do it bit by bit, day by day. And that's why there's a sort of diligence and mindfulness and slowness that comes with this Hanged Man, okay? Take it slow, take it easy, do stretch, but don't stretch to the breaking point, okay? Moving on to Rising Sign, we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. If you need it, ask. If there's something that's lacking, articulate that. Throw a spotlight on it. If there's something that you need for yourself, go ahead and do it. This is about investing in yourself. Now is the time. Moon sign, Four of Cups. Comparing yourself to others is rarely a sort of favorable thing. We all do it from time to time, but this is about being present and seeing what's in front of you. If you look in this card, they chose to put the final cup in the background. So there's always a floating cup in this particular card, and sometimes our perspective obscures the opportunity. There's a hidden blessing or a hidden opportunity in front of you, and it's just a matter of looking to a different sort of perspective to see it. One thing that I can say here is that there's more than meets the eye, and you may be exactly where you need to be right now to open up to that next big thing. So try to look a little closer. Be more open, look around, and imagine that there might be an opportunity that you haven't yet kind of capitalized on, and I feel like it's within reach. Things are better than they seem. That's what I get with that. Okay, let's move on to the last card that I pull for you today, your final card. This is a chance for you to ask a question that is still on your mind, and I'm going to see what Spirit has to say. So formulate that question, take a deep breath, and you got the Knight of Swords. This is a very affirmative card to come through. For a yes or no, it's a yes. As a general direction card, here's how you can make things happen. Knights fight for what they want. They're willing to stand up and say, I'm worth it, or I believe in this, or I believe in you. And they're not going to let anyone really stand in their way. And if you think of a knight like going to battle, they're going to really make sure, I'm going to get this done. So this is a month to be bold, to really articulate things, and get to the point too. Swords, especially the court cards, they don't mince words. If there's something that needs to be said, just say it. And it's really going to help you get to the next level. Take a contract and deliver it. Take a thought and put it into action. Somehow movement is required. And as long as you move, you're good. And that is connecting you again to making that necessary change. I think this is a really powerful month for you, Aquarius. Yes, there's a little bit of emotional healing to do. Yes, there may be some sort of like noise from friends or family, but the overarching trend here is moving to the next level, success, empowerment, and creativity. So do what you can this month to tune into those energies and really allow things to take flight. And that's what the Six of Swords is trying to get you to see this month, okay? I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor. Hit the like and subscribe. That way I know that this was something that resonated. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you're going through, what made sense to you. And all of this helps me as I decide how to kind of organize these readings in the future. So thank you so much. Give me a follow on social media as well. This is a great way to make sure that you don't miss a notification coming through from YouTube. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms. be mindful of any sort of imposters that sometimes show up from time to time. They typically are going to message you and ask for things. I don't use direct messages for business, so just block and report and let me know about it. And if you do need reminders of how or direction on how to find me, you can always go to my website as well, nicholasashbaugh.com. If you'd like to show love and support, right here on YouTube, there are multiple ways: super stickers, super likes, super chats, and also becoming a member, a great way to give back. And I'm starting to introduce more and more perks for members, whether it's live streams that have member-only chats. Sometimes I have member-only videos. I have something in the works for the future as well that I won't talk about just yet, but there's a lot of stuff for members, so it's a great way to also get some perks in the process. That, my friends, is everything. Thank you for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Wishing you all the best in the month ahead. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.